Hello and welcome to court. Juneteenth, or June 19th, is a date many Black Americans celebrate and recognize the freedom of our enslaved ancestors. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed January 1st, 1863, which is the date you likely learned in history class, where enslaved Black people in America were given their freedom. What that date does not recognize is the reality of race relations in America. Many slavers were not in the business of giving up free labor, and often slavers did not tell their enslaved peoples that they had been freed. Black enslaved people as a whole could not read and did not have the freedom to travel at will, so unless they were told, they did not know that they were free. June 19, 1865 was the day that federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas to make sure that the last slaves were freed. On June 19th, we honor our ancestors and celebrate one another. So today, we wanted to talk about Black people from history that you may not know about. Maria Stewart was born as a free Black person in 1803. Early into her life, she was orphaned and was taken in as a servant. Stewart was a feminist, abolitionist, writer, and public speaker. She is credited with being the first Black woman to lecture about women's rights, and she was the first Black woman to speak in a crowd of Black and white people. She was known for speaking freely about the things Black people endured in America during her life. Her speech pattern became synonymous with Black abolitionist movement, as Sojourner Truth picked up on her lecture style. Stormy De La Verry was a biracial lesbian who preferred clothing that society deemed as male-presenting. She was a natural-born entertainer. She performed at the Ringling Brothers Circus, jumping horses, but is best known for her performance as a drag king in the Jewel Box Revue. By both eyewitness and her own account, De La Verry started the Stonewall Riots. At the time, it was illegal to dress in clothes that were made for another gender. She dressed masculine for her time and would be an easy target for the cops to arrest. She fought with the police while handcuffed on this particular night. Bystanders watched as she fought, yelled, and cursed at the cops and heard her demand for help. Her actions and words gave spark to the movement that Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera continued to carry through the rebellion. Bayard Rustin was a gay activist in the 1960s civil rights movement. He went to India in the 1940s to study Gandhi's tactics leading a peaceful movement. Rustin believed so deeply in peaceful protesting that he championed its use in the movement happening in America. He was a wonderful speaker, leader, and organizer. In fact, he organized the famous March on Washington and worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during his lifetime. Huey Percy Newton co-founded the Black Panther Party with Bobby Seale. Newton wasn't just a wonderful speaker, he was a doer. He believed in building the programs he wanted to see, like food banks, medical testing sites, housing cooperatives, and the most famous initiative was starting a program that gave free breakfast for school-aged children. At the time, children were not given breakfast at school. Kids whose families could not afford to feed them at home would go to school hungry in America. Newton believed in true racial equality, which meant financial and systematic equality between the races. He worked closely with people of all different backgrounds to help build the America he wanted to live in. This Juneteenth, take time to learn about Black history, shop Black, and if you are Black, connect with your community. Until next time.